It's been a while, right? I mean, how long has it been?
A minute.
A minute, a minute. Well, I'm just gonna be completely transparent and say like, whew, it's been a rough minute.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, but so this is an article called "What Did I Do This Week?" number 3, but this is like months ago at this point, right?
Well, you see the date. It's September 30.
So it's been a little bit, and that's
Yeah.
okay. It's okay. How September 30th?
Yeah, September 30.
Woo! Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a little bit. All right.
But it kind of does fit with the new year, where like I hate New Year's resolutions. I don't do any, other than like
Resolutions?
other than get my shit together as a person, which I don't do either.
Is that your resolution every year? Just like get my shit together.
It's my resolution every morning. I
Hey,
usually
I actually I can feel you on that one. It's like, all right, today is gonna. No, actually, I do it at night though. I have nightly resolutions. Like tomorrow is gonna be the best day ever. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna finally feel good and I'm gonna do things and then it yeah.
okay, but instead of feeling better, aim lower. That's my new thing right now. Because I think for you, feeling good about yourself or feeling better is too high of a mark. So just like that
Well,
much.
clearly it hasn't been working out for me. So yeah.
So yeah, September 30, I wrote this article. I remember I actually walked by the park that is named after Zach's grandpa.
Really?
Yeah,
Our drummer, Zach. Yeah.
So I walked through that park, and that's a picture of that dam there.
Okay. So do you remember what you were thinking about, what you were digesting September 30th that led to this article?
Well, like you said, feeling good about oneself. No, getting stuff done.
Okay.
Getting my this is kind of a similar chat that we had before, and I even say in the article, being realistic with my time.
Right. Well, it's the title of it is "It's Okay to Say No." So that's kind of the topic of the article, right?
Yeah.
So clearly you were having some time constraint issues, some over promising maybe.
Yeah, my whole life is over promising and under delivering. And there's no under delivering. There's no delivering.
Usually if I order a pizza, I expect it to get to me at some point, right? So you're this guy who doesn't even drop the pizza off. You're just like, "Thank you for your order. We'll be right with you.
Have a good day.
Have a good day. See you next time."
But okay, so and this is a great chat though because I'm gonna skip around just a tiny bit. I forced. This is weird. I being busy. And busy is just a made up fucking construct as far as I'm concerned. Nobody's busy.
Right.
Time's relative, I've heard. I made time to go walk in the park
Yeah.
because the reality is I wasn't getting shit done anyway, and I needed to refocus.
Yeah.
And maybe one of the 3 therapists told me to do it. Which is the best thing to say to people. One of my 3 therapists said do this. The other 2 think she's crazy though.
Oh, I thought the other two were like off themselves from dealing with you.
Yeah, I was gonna say something really bad. So yeah, no,
I think I know exactly what that was going to be.
everyone knows. Reminds me of The Sopranos, where he wanted to have an affair with one of his therapists, or his therapist. Good show, by the way. Good show.
Sopranos. I remember. Well, you're a couple of years older than me, but I remember my dad watching it
Yeah.
and being like really into it, and it looked like a well done show. And I remember people really. It was huge, like when it was airing. It was like the biggest show. Yeah.
It's worth a watch. It really is. It's up there. So no, really, what I was thinking, and again, it's okay to say no. I have a want and a desire to please people. It doesn't seem that way. I kind of come off as I do come off as an asshole and a curmudgeon. I told my therapist that. I'm like, I don't know why somebody would want to hang out with me because I'm generally I'm very centered and focused on what I want to do, and I want to be left alone.
Yeah, but you are very what's the phrasing I'm looking for? Like when you're helpful, you offer help. You're always like,
Yeah.
like someone says something that they're dealing with or working on. It's like, I can give you a hand with that. I don't know. You're moving the mountain over there to over there. Let me just I'll carry it for you. You know.
Well, no, and the problem is I have a very wandering brain. I like, and again, I like a lot of information, and I like doing things. I don't like finishing anything, clearly. So no, a lot of this article was me going like, this person that I say no to will not hate me because if it's their thing, they can do it. I don't need to help everybody with everything. That's a really cool, like, okay, the guy that I work with right now texted me. He's like, hey, I have to do his voice. Hey, do you want to lay a floor right now? I'll pay you $100. We can hang out and drink beer. Okay. I love construction. I love beer. Okay. But I'm like, no, I don't want to do that because either I have two things that I want to do. I either want to sleep right now or I want to get some of my own personal work done.
Right.
So
it's like one of the few moments you have to do something else other than be at work, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's, I guess, I don't want to keep on pointing and say, I said this in the article, but I did. You got to make the next best, maybe I didn't say this in the article. You got to say your next best thing. Like, what's my next best choice I can make? And that's a very, like, self-help book kind of bullshit, but it's true. If I want to be a better, and this does center on music in some degree. If I want to become a better musician, I need to put the time in. I need to practice. I need to motivate myself to say, hey, I'd love to go drinking with you.
Speaking of which, yeah.
But instead, I'm going to make sure I get my practice in first, and then I'll come hang out.
Right. Okay. I see that. Well, and you did say in the article, if I say yes to one thing, I'm saying no to something else, right?
And I don't think we think about it that way, do we?
Definitely not. Well, usually it's like, well, I've got this is my plate. This is what's on it. I can fit one more thing on there. I can just say yes. You're not thinking that if you shove one more thing on there, something's going to fall off the other side.
Damn, I should have used fucking plates instead of a dam. Way better. No, yeah, anything that you say yes to is essentially pushing something else off. And I kind of look at like, I mean, I can look back 20 years from now or ago where I wanted to be a full-time musician. I could have done that. I mean, I did do that as a teacher, but I didn't do it as a musician in my mind.
Yeah.
But there's nobody on the face of the earth has more time than I have. Right? So it's lame, but Taylor Swift has that song that goes, "I'm the problem, it's me." The other day at work,
I enjoy Taylor Swift. I do.
She's
got some good tunes.
I was singing it at work the other day. "I'm the problem, it's me. I'm the problem." Walking around and everyone was so worried, concerned.
Everyone was agreeing with you probably.
Yeah. So I do remember this week though, getting asked to play an open mic night, and I was like, "Nah, I can't."
Okay.
Getting asked to help somebody with an errand thing, and I was like, "No, I can't."
So was the open mic night, was that like hosting it, or was that just playing at it?
Just playing it, yeah.
Okay.
And I have a weird relationship with playing out, because I like doing it in my own fashion, right? Like I like doing it in my environment that I want.
Right.
And
like on a bridge in the middle of the night.
Maybe middle. No,
well,
guys
maybe
like
not middle, yeah.
A guy's like, "Well, do you want to play in a band? We got a cover band that's going." I was like, "No, I don't want to play in a cover band that's going. I want a cover band that's established, and I don't even really want to do that much because it's just time and effort." And I think young musicians think that's a lot of fun. I mean, I remember being a kid and like, a gig? Yeah, I'll take all my gear from point A, climb that mountain, put it on point B,
and then have to go backwards at the end of the night.
Yeah, we got to figure out this equipment situation. That's what we should spend our time on. How do we make it small?
Well, they're honestly with the technology for guitarists anyway. The tech they've got out these days is crazy. Like, I'm not gonna remember the name of it, but there's this basically amp box pedal where you can just like you can
the Kemper.
Store all. Well, it's like the Kemper, but improved upon.
Okay.
I think it's by Neural DSP. Let me just look it up quick because I know what I'm thinking of. The Quad Cortex. So that came out in 2020.
Okay.
And it can man, I've been so out of it that I'm like forgetting normal music terms now, guitar gear terms. Like it takes what are those samples of like a cab called or an amp called?
Simulations, amp sims.
Yeah, but like what do they use those like snapshots in time? Oh, vocabulary. Anyway, you can model your own amps, your own cabinets, your own pedals even, and then store them in the device, and it does a fair job of it, like good enough that professional musicians take just this stomp box basically to gigs, that and a guitar or a couple of guitars. That's their whole rig. Right, because they put all their amps into it, they put all their effects pedals into it, and they make all their presets, and then you're just good to go. You can fly with it easily because it's like yay big, right?
Yeah.
And it solves all those problems.
I knew a guy. I did a film soundtrack in New York, and that sounds impressive, but it was an independent film contest, so it's even less impressive. But the guy the guy that I was recording with was a full-time musician. I was like, "Oh, that's so cool! You're in New York. You're a musician." He's like, "I carry my drum set on the subway."
Oh,
he's like,
no.
Every gig I play, I have to decide on what I can actually bring because. So yeah, that's my point. Like, do I like playing in band situations? Yeah, it can be fun. There's certain people I clearly like playing with. I'm pointing at one that isn't here.
Yeah.
He's not here.
Yeah. Zach. We know Zach.
Zach's the only person I like to play with. So yeah, and I'm good at saying no to that. Not no to Zach, but no to other people like that. But sometimes it's saying no to myself. Like, hey, Luke, guess what? That sounds like a really cool idea, but right now is not the time to work on it.
Right. Oh, totally. And like, I know exactly what you mean by that. Like I started this thing where I'm working on just developing some more improvisational skills on guitar, right? Because I feel like I've run up against a wall where I just kind of play the same things over and over, and I want to try to break past that. And I'll get I'll grab a guitar. So I got my guitar here, and I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna learn a new idea today, or something, and then I'll do that a few times, but then maybe I'll just be like. And then I'll go off 10 times longer on just noodling around than on actually practicing the or whatever it was I played, right? So that's where I catch myself a lot saying yes to something and saying no to something else within my own head, right?
Yeah. Okay, so I texted you this week because I jammed with Ryan and we did an open mic night, which I loved. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, you did an open mic night too. That's cool.
Yeah, I think I sent you a picture. But so I did that, and by doing that, I said no to some things that I should have done, but I also said, fuck it, this is going to be fun, and I don't get to see Ryan a lot, and it was a good experience. So I purposely said no. Like, I didn't really have a Christmas this year. I was too busy working. So I said no to like, shit, I should have practiced my arpeggios for 15 minutes, and I should have done the finger workout for 15 minutes. But I was like, I'm going to do this instead, and I'm going to have fun. And that was a choice that I made that I was happy with. And even the night before the gig, for fun, I filmed my exercises. And then I was like, fuck, I had a couple beers. I jammed on Petty songs for 2 hours and just really, I like learned a song by ear. So it was different practice, still good stuff. But I know, like, I also let myself down, though, because I should have made sure I got both my practices in, not just one.
Yeah, sure.
Because it's compound interest. Like, if I skip every once in a while, it's the same thing as you. If you spend 10 minutes of practice, but only 5 minutes is dedicated.
Right, you've only spent 5 minutes, really, of practice. Because the rest of the time you're doing what you already know how to do.
Yeah. When we taught lessons together, obviously holding hands, I always loved when kids were like, oh, I practiced for 30 minutes. And I was like, no, you played. you did not practice. Because you don't understand. When you practice, you don't have to understand all the concepts perfectly. But it's also not just going, what is the challenge? What is the sandpaper of your practice? Which might be a great article too. Like what's defining how you're going to become a better musician?
Right. What do you actually take? What do you push it? In which way are you pushing yourself? Right. Like,
Yeah.
how, can you name it? Can you point it out? Because you know what it is. You know, because you're bad at it. When you try
Yeah.
it, it's hard and you do a poor job. And that's the thing that you need to keep working on. But then it's so easy, like especially after you've got a fundamental like level of skill, to be like, okay, that's hard and uncomfortable, but this noodling around on stuff I know how to do is really fun. Let's do that.
It's fun and rewarding because it's
Yeah.
rewarding because I'm good at it, right? Where what I've learned, and you've seen kind of with these arpeggio stuff, because I keep on sending you videos like, "Hey Nick, I can finally play this. I'm
Right.
I'm I'm good.
I'm a big boy
adjacent.
now.
I have pants on." I don't. No, but I even had it when I was doing my finger exercise one night after working. I came back and did it, and I noticed that I was when I focused. This is dumb to say out loud. My fingers moved better. So it's done. But my brain could easily drift to, oh shit, what do I want to get done tomorrow? And then I'd notice my fingers were still fine, but not as good.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And it just being aware of that is very like a meditative yoga thing. Like being aware of what these fingers are doing and how they respond. I'm like, man, when I focus, I can have complete control, or I can be a sloppy minded person, which I am, and go, I wonder how many apricots are in the supermarket.
That actually really ties in well to an experience I've had with my own self the last few months here. Like I fell down. I've never really been on social media or done. Like I remember my younger brother used to talk about getting lost in the YouTube vortex or whatever, and spend like you watch one video and spend hours. Like that was never me. But then like these last few months, it's kind of become me. Like I just like I have like this YouTube addiction for the first time in my life, and so I want to watch a YouTube video while I'm practicing.
Oh,
right?
bro. When we started hanging out, that was my number one issue, and I loved it. Want to know why? I was like, I'm getting 2 hours of practice in. I'm sorry, finish.
No. But
You're not.
But you're not. No, you're not. You're not at all. Like it's not the same level of practice. And if I may add, which I will, and I can, and I will, it's mentally so much more exhausting. Like I'll spend 45 minutes practicing and watching YouTube videos, after which I'm toast. Yeah. Whereas I could have spent 45 minutes just practicing and felt pretty good. Still had like mental energy to spare. It's like this doing this two multiple things at once, this multitasking, right? It drains your brain so much faster.
You're basic, and we do this in all aspects of our lives, not just us, but we do, but everybody. We lie to ourselves. We say, we do this quite a bit. Oh, this is more pleasing for me to have YouTube, this distraction, while I'm practicing.
Yeah. And it's not. And it's so not. It's actually less pleasing.
Dude, remember when we started practicing together, right? And you'd always yell at me and then hit me and then yell again and then hit me.
Good times. I miss that.
One of us doesn't. No, but like, dude, and I'm miles away from being good. I'm good adjacent, as I say. But I had no metronome ability at all when we started. None. Zero. Depleted. But now, dude, if I don't practice with the metronome, I feel like I'm wasting my time. Now, I don't think everyone has practice all the time with the metronome. But, dude, I fucking love that fucking thing now.
Mm-hmm.
We're literally like, yeah, there might be drinks involved or something else. More drinks. But like I can just sit and listen to it and groove with it, and I could never have done that before. And now it's just like, as a whole part of my practice, that understanding of timing and everything is different.
Not to mention, that's a skill that translates over. I mean, once you get into the studio and you start laying down tracks, and you're doing it in 2-3 takes instead of 20-30 takes, like that's a big difference.
Wait, you can do 20 to 30 takes and be done?
Fair.
Let me pull up the last song and throw 360. Now, my last one I did pretty good at, but
so I don't know if you remember this. You probably do, but remember recording on Listen?
Bass.
Guitars. I'm talking about guitars.
Okay.
Like I had a guitar part I came up with that I never played well on it. I don't know if you remember that or not. It was like this offbeat thing, right? It was on the ands.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, that's like one of those things where I could have just sat down for 15 minutes and practiced it.
Yeah.
Focused practiced it.
Yes.
But instead I chose the route of it's more fun just to keep trying and failing because I'm playing along to the track full speed and this is groovy and this is great. Yeah.
But here's the parallel, Nick, because granted, yeah, you should have fucking done that, right? You should have said, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
I need a half hour, and then after that half hour I'm gonna chill. And the more you do that, I think of our last recording session where I couldn't get the amp set up and you were done. Again, this is my point is though you've cultivated a sense of how to play better.
Right.
You've cultivated how to grow as a musician, and I need to do a better job of taking notes. I do take notes, and I'm like, Nick did these 4 things. I'm gonna do these 4 things.
Right.
So focusing and getting that done, and to see, and I think that's kind of video wise the stuff that I want to start producing more of. Is like, hey, this is what I practiced. This is the improvement I saw. If you want to do it, do it. If you don't, then you continue to make the same mistakes you make, which is fine. If you want to waste, if you want to waste your time. All right, back to the article.
Yeah. So you made this point at the end of it, kind of saying like for the next 2 days you started just turning stuff down. Like it was a conscious decision. Like I'm just going to start saying no to things, saying no to people, and people maybe weren't used to that, right? So, like, I guess what I wanted to ask was, what was the feeling for you to actually start saying no after being someone who just always like automatically was a yes man, just say yes, I can do this, yes, I can do this.
Freedom. Oh, for sure, dude. I mean, the blame is on me, you know, right? The ownership is mine. But once you start saying no to everything, you're like, oh yeah, I have an extra 45 minutes. I don't do well with free time. Like I talk to my therapist. I'm like, so what do we do when we're done with work? she's like, well, a lot of people like relax. I like, tell me more about this relax thing. Yeah, I don't do that well, but it kind of goes back to forcing myself to walk in the park. You can't run at 100 miles per hour all the time and expect that you're going to be there.
Right.
You're
going to wear yourself out.
Yeah. I mean, look at me as a person. That is quintessentially me. And it's not fun, you know, and as I talk to my therapist, I'm like, I can't do this for the next 15 years. I can't be a hamster on a wheel running. I'm tired. So I need to pick my battles. Know what, this is kind of what I said to you the other day, though. I'm like, if it doesn't excite you, why are you doing it?
So I shouldn't be waking up.
Shit got dark. You should probably wake up.
Okay.
And we all have responsibilities. We all have things that we need to do. I totally get that. We also have a lot of things that we choose to do. Like
that's fair. That's entirely fair. And there's a lot of things that I do even now where I have more limited time than I used to have. That I choose to do that don't excite me, that don't stimulate me, that I don't actually feel good afterwards. I mean, a perfect example being that watching YouTube videos, right? Like I'm not happy I did it. I don't feel better that I did it, and I don't really get anything from it that enriches me in any meaningful way.
We're basically eating sugar is what it amounts to.
Yeah.
We're having that sweet treat that makes my tummy feel better about me being alive.
But actually, if you're honest, it just makes you kind of sick.
No, you said it already. It makes you tired.
Yeah.
You're asking your brain to be in two places and be unsuccessful at either. You don't retain everything from your YouTube video. You don't retain everything from your practice.
Right. And also it's like doing it that way, you don't, maybe there's some enjoyment to be had from watching that YouTube video, but you don't get it.
No, you don't.
And maybe there's some enjoyment to be had from that practice session, but you don't get it. You cancel both out.
That was my whole, I don't land my points, obviously, but that was my whole point. Again, I had a couple drinks, but it doesn't even matter. Drinking's awesome. Case closed. No, but the amount of joy that I had paying attention and having ownership of my fingers and relaxation and feel was second to none. But that's a willpower thing, right? That's a hey, focused practice. How do I cultivate focused practice?
Right. And I'll even find myself, and I know I already kind of touched on this, but I'll find myself, I'll make this, say I have a 4-measure phrase that I'm practicing, like for improv, like a lick, say, right? And so I'll do like an 8-measure loop of a backing track. And I'll be like, all right, so what I'm going to do is practicing coming into and getting out of that lick. So I'll play the lick for the first 4 measures, and then I'll just kind of jam for the second 4. And the idea is that I'll go from that jamming back into the lick and back out of the lick and do this on a cycle and just practice that. But what I'll end up doing is I'll do the lick, those first 4 measures, and for the next like 5 minutes just jam and then hit the lick again. I'm just like, no. And then I'll tell myself no, and I'll be like, I'll get back to the lick. I'll do it a couple times in a row even to be like, to make up for the fact that I missed it so many times. Yeah. And then I'll be like, all right, let's get back into the cycle. And I'll do the same damn thing again. Be like, what is wrong with you?
But it's being present, understanding what the assignment is at the current situation. And this is why I made that choice with open mic night with Ryan. I was like, fuck it. I deserve to have some fucking fun.
Right.
I've been working my goddamn ass off. I'm like, fuck the rules. I'm done. And I'm going to enjoy. But the thing is, and we talk about this a lot, I'm trying to fall back in love with music.
Right.
And that night allowed me to do that. Not actually, the funny thing is not playing open mic night, which I actually had a lot of fun and thought it went really well. And I actually recorded it all.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow,
yeah.
nice.
I actually recorded a whole practice session too. So like it was really fun, but I had more fun the night before, just after I already practicing again. And practicing the songs, not caring, and just like falling down a practice hole.
Yeah.
Which is a hole that somebody dug for practice.
Well, it reminded me. I'm going to go off on a little bit of a tangent here, but what you said just reminded me of this experience I had in 2017. 2017. I'm just going to go with that. We're going to roll with 2017.
It's 2016 September, but.
Yeah. But I was at a really low point, and I felt like every time I played music, it felt like I was just pushing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't ever enjoying. I wasn't ever playing music, right? I was working music.
Yep.
And I took no pleasure from it whatsoever. So I actually just completely stopped. Completely, like, I didn't practice at all. Any day. I had no pressure on myself to do anything. And I took that a step further. It's like once I stopped that, I was like, well, there's these other things I'm doing that I don't enjoy at all. So I just cut all of that out. And I didn't. And I had no intention. I was like, with no pressure on myself, no intention on myself to get back into any of it.
Yeah.
And what I found was it took a couple weeks, maybe a month or more, of just not doing any of that stuff and doing other things. Like I started reading a lot, which is something I used to always do when I was younger. I just started like writing again, like just like little short stories and stuff. And then one day suddenly I sat down at the piano and I started practicing a song, and it's like I had a great time. Yeah. And then from there it's like, well, I wanted to like play piano and sing that song, so I started practicing the two together, and it was very focused practice. It was very fun practice. It was just so enjoyable, and I started just kind of like falling back in love with all these things that I liked doing, but I had like lost my way with, so to speak, right?
It makes me think of two different points. One is, I think we need a reset every once in a while. Like, I love music. I was stupid enough to try to make it my career as a teacher and whatnot. Right. It really burnt me out from music. Like, I was like, I want to be surrounded by music all the time.
Right. And you think, well, any form of music is going to be that satisfaction that I'm looking for.
Yeah. But the other thing is, I like practicing, even though I'm not good at it, the technical stuff and the rudiments, basically, because I see what it does to my playing. But it can become almost this very scientific, non-fun thing Now, the way that I get off on it, for lack of a better term, is I see what it does. Like, all of a sudden I grab a guitar and play something that I've never been able to play before, and I'm like,
Right.
that only happened because of the rudiments, but it also only happened because I was having fun.
Right. The rudiments led to the ability to just kind of jam out that way.
Yep. But if
And-
you're
and
not
do that
having
thing,
fun
yeah.
and not enjoying it, or, the thing that I think both love the best is writing songs out of thin air.
Yeah.
I
Hands down.
I was on shuffle on my phone and I ran across a song that you and I recorded. And it's this 9-minute fuck knows all, terrible note singing. Nick didn't know the key right away, which is very surprising. So he was probably under the influence of something. But I heard the magic that was in there. And I was like, oh my God, that's so, there were 3 ideas that were just phenomenal ideas. And that excites me. And that excites me to make myself practice. But if you don't set up that time, that period of fun,
Right.
and it's the same thing as say yes to something, you say no to something else. Say yes to practicing the right amount. Practice it. Don't kill yourself to practice. Try to have some fun, because if you don't have fun, what the fuck is the point?
Yeah. What are you practicing for at the end of the day if you're not enjoying yourself? Right.
Dude, I mean, that reminds me, we were sitting at somebody's pool maybe 2 years ago, and I go, I don't know if I want to do this music by the measures thing. Because I have a brain that is really tough to do more than one thing.
Right.
I can do one thing or 7,000 things. And it's a lot of mental energy for me to, I do this in therapy. I tell my brain to do this, because that's what I have to do. Dude, I can sit and go, I can have 700 ideas on one idea. And it doesn't help me get where I want to go. And I'm like, and I think that's kind of my push for us this year is like, okay, Stephen Covey is, shit, I'm going to fuck up this quote, but blah, blah, blah. Begin with the end in mind. Where do we want to be? Okay, if we want to be there, what do we want? If I'm here today, what steps do I take to get there? And how do I do that every day? And how do I keep using the same word because it makes sense. How do I plant the seeds? How do I cultivate that? How do I cultivate the growth that I want?
Well, and there's another element to that actually I learned about, I don't know, last year, I guess, late last year. More like I just overheard someone say it, so I say I learned it. But
Yeah.
The idea that having a direction, having a goal is like one of the best ways out of and to stay out of a depressed state.
Really? I thought it was psychedelic mushrooms. You might have heard different things. But you're right. Dude, I think that's what's wrong with our culture, to get in that for a second. We're directionless.
Oh, very much. It's like it's a culture of lost.
Yeah. Look at every dude, I even say this all the time. Look at all I have as a person. I'm a poor person, and I am beyond spoiled.
Oh yeah, totally.
Don't say it like that.
Totally.
We lack
Well, I am
purpose.
too, though. I mean, like I think about the amount that I've really I've worked a lot in my life, but the amount of money I've actually made for the work I've done is very little, right?
Yeah.
Like I've done a lot of work that wasn't paid. I've done a lot of work that was poorly paid, but I still have like a stupid amount, and I have expensive I have expensive shit even, and I have like a stupid amount of stuff, and I, as a person, know that I have far fewer belongings than the average person, the average, at least American, does. And I still feel like I don't need all of this. I am totally spoiled by having even half of this, but I do. I have it all.
I used to say when I owned a Prius a long time ago. You didn't know me back then.
I didn't.
It's when I used to drive to houses and the Prius made sense. I used to say I don't have Prius money. And by that I meant I can afford a Prius. I can't afford fixing it. I can't afford this. I can't afford. That's how I feel about life. It's like when I buy a $500 guitar, that means I chose to do $500 worth of work for that guitar. Well, how many hours was that? Where'd that money come from? What should I have practiced instead? I don't know how many guitars I have.
Right.
I can't count past 5.
And when you put it in those terms, like how many hours of practice could I have gotten instead? Like you could have one guitar like
Two
decent
guitars,
quality.
two guitars.
Two guitars, decent quality, but practice your ass off and have a lot more to show for it than having a bunch of nice guitars.
Yeah, for sure. So it's here's what I learned a long time ago when I went to therapy before. In the industry, they
seeing
call
a trend here.
Yeah. They say it didn't keep. That therapy didn't keep.
It's like milk. It just spoils after a while.
I'm drinking kefir and doing a lot of probiotics. We should talk later. I think I pronounced that word wrong. The simplest truths are the best ones. So even though like these lessons are simple and stupid, they probably add up.
Right.
So say no so you can say yes. What are the things you want to do? Where do you want to spend your time? I mean, like, I think about dying. No, but not like that. But I think like at the end of the day, what do I have to show for this? Like for whatever life is and all this universe bullshit that may or may not exist because we're in a simulation. Like, I don't even think guitar's that important. I don't think music's that important. I think the act and the discipline of understanding something is important, whether it be deep sea fishing, whether that be, if you're the best door hanger in the industry, great. Do that.
Something to be proud of.
Dude, doors need to be hung.
Hey, honestly, this is completely truthful. I was very proud when I was a bartender. I took a lot of pride in making good fucking drinks.
Yeah.
And knowing my drinks and just being like a craftsman behind the bar.
Yeah.
And I felt good about myself in that I was able to do that. Like whip out these drinks and people would just be like, wow, that's amazing. I'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good feeling. Like, I did a good job. Right?
And didn't you also feel good though about like, I know we're talking about drinking, which is awesome, but you're giving somebody something that they like. You're making that person's night by being like, oh, you want this, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. Like, they're excited by it. It reminds me of songwriting, though. Like, the idea of songwriting is, like, I want to give you some... Nick's an alcoholic, but Nick enjoys drinks. So he's like, dude, I'm going to serve the shit out of this whatever because I enjoy it. I want you to enjoy it. That's what songwriting is, too, in my mind. Like, I want to write something that I find pleasing because there's somebody else on this fucking earth that, dude, there's like at least 12 different people on this earth that is going to enjoy that song as well.
Right. At least 12.
I look at our monthly listeners. That's why I said 12.
Yeah. Yeah, no, for sure. And with the songwriting, it's... I don't know. I was thinking about the article again because you're talking about you got to say no to say yes. If you say yes, you're saying no, and it just comes down to like another way to say it is setting your priorities, getting them straight. And it's like, what do you want in your life? What do you want to do? Because there's this main road of what you want, and there's these endless side roads of what of distractions, right? And they're so
needy.
Lakavi. What's that mean?
It means whiskey.
Sometimes I get the wrong language in my head and I can't switch. Anyway, these distractions, they just pull you with so much power.
Okay,
but
wait.
At the end, you choose whether you go down that side road or not.
And that's where I go, like, music is discipline and life is discipline. So the reason it seems very like there's a bullshit dam, but as I was walking and trying to be in the moment, because I'm a hipster, really old, by the way, old hipster, I saw this dam and you can't see in the picture, but behind the dam, you'll be surprised, there was water.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's
really?
one of those new ones. Yeah, it's one of those new ones.
Oh.
But I just thought,
I didn't know dams had water.
You'd be damned. But I really thought about how, like, all that, I thought it more as like, I'm holding back this water of all these responsibilities that aren't actually responsibilities. Guess what, Nick? I can say no to fucking anything. I want to be a hermit. Long term, that's my plan. But I'm saying no to all this. It wasn't a joke. I'm being serious.
No, that's why it's funny.
Yeah, I'm holding all these responsibilities that aren't even mine to fucking hold. And much like you watching a YouTube video while you're practicing, I'm splitting my brain on 7 things that don't matter. Dude, at work, I have to every once in a while I'm solving problems that don't exist. And I'm like, dude, why are you doing that? Why are you wasting your time on that energy?
Yeah. Wasting energy on that time, yeah.
Yeah, it's all using up my RAM. It's all me holding this water back, and I'm seeing cracks in the foundation.
Well, that's the problem, right? Is we have limited bandwidth as humans. Our brains can only do so much, only handle so much before it needs a rest and needs to process that all and then like restore and gather new energy. And what do you choose to spend that on, right? It's almost like spending your money. What do you want to spend your money on?
Money is time, and time is money. Music lessons in my mind are life lessons. And vice versa. Like you said it right by saying, what are my priorities? What I wrote down, so I'm trying to do some journaling and whatnot and processing. What are my hierarchy of needs, which is a really big word for me, and I think it's Egyptian, because it's pyramid based. It's a scheme that I have, a pyramid scheme.
Yeah.
Which is a different vibrational thing we'll talk about later. What's important to me? Because at the end of the day, I think our goal and our ambition should be to become a well-rounded person. I'm pretty fucking far away from that. I literally am a triangle. I'm literally a pyramid just trying to roll and doing a terrible job of it. But I think the desire and the understanding to like, okay, I know I'm deficient in that area. Musically, I'm deficient in these areas. Okay, how do I want to work on that? How do I want to understand that? What are the things I can choose today and the time that I have that's most important to make me a well-rounded person, a well-rounded person in society, which I think is a little bit bullshit, but for self. It's all self.
Right.
And not in a selfish way itself. It's self for community. If I don't take care of myself, how could I help anybody else in this world?
I mean, that's like therapy 101, right?
Oh, no, all 3 of them say that, yeah. It's therapy 303.
Okay, there's 1 times 3, it's 3, yeah.
6, yeah.
Sure.
No,
Gotcha.
I think, now I'm going to be honest with you. I wrote this on the September 30th. I've ebbed and flowed. I've had good days. I've had bad days.
I'm pretty sure I'm in a much worse place now than I was then. But I've had all this in mind because we wrote it down,
No, but even I'm a big believer in talk therapy and processing stuff. Even us chatting this through, I was a little hesitant. I'm like, hey, Nick, that's kind of... Luke wrote this article. It's pretty fucking stupid as far as I'm concerned. I know the guy. He's kind of an idiot. He doesn't get shit done. But even like... And we were chatting before kind of about the gym and whatnot. It's almost like an accountability buddy, right? Like talking through of like, okay, well... You said it earlier. You were like, I learned something, but I didn't actually learn it. You said something to that effect. I think we get a lot of concepts in our brain, and we're able to parakeet them.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean we're doing them. And I think if we can push ourselves to saying, hey, I have the integrity to tell Nick these are my goals. Oh shit, I didn't do them. Oh shit. Now Nick knows about them.
Where's the accountability?
Yeah. And that goes back to the discipline. I think we need to have ownership of our accountability, but like we're I don't like this, but we're social people.
Right, we're social creatures. Yeah, we need that. We do need that to some extent or other.
Yeah, we do, and I think I told you this a long time ago. Like my favorite band was the Beatles, and I had this dream of how I thought the Beatles lived and acted. It wasn't reality, but that's what I wanted as a band. I'm like, oh man, they hang out, they record music, they're accountable to each other. They weren't. They ebbed and flowed. There's the person in charge and the person that's kind of in charge, and.
But then again, like I mean, I know it's been a good while since we've had this as the norm, but we'd have our recording sessions, our songwriting sessions, and just the 2 of us coming together and working, we would push each other constantly, and it's like our natural inclination to want this and to be excited about this and to get this done fed the other person's natural inclination to want this, get excited about this and get this done, and that just it like amplified it in both, and we just charged forward with things, right?
Well, but you're 100% right. And I think the integrity aspect of it is much like my 15 minutes and 15 minutes of practice I have to do.
Yep.
What are the 3 things that I need? What are my walkaways?
Right.
What are my walkaways? And I would leave our practice sessions all the time going like, oh, I suck. Our recording sessions, I suck. But that I suck would motivate me. It would push me.
Yeah.
But it probably took me, dude, our first hangouts and whatnot. It took me 6 months to understand how to practice correctly. I modeled after you. I stole stuff from you. If I would have done that day one and gone, well, Nick is where guitarist wise where I want to be. Okay, what is he, dude? The greatest thing is if there's a bunch of rich dentists, there's good math to say if I become a dentist, I'll be rich.
Mm-hmm.
If Nick is practicing these 7 things, fucking goddamn, get my shit together and fucking practice them. Instead,
Right.
I was like, I don't need a metronome. What's that, Nick? I love it. I recorded some guy once. He goes, yeah, I don't play with a metronome. I just have a good flow. And I'm like, well, as a guitarist, you have not been in time once. So
Right. Right. Your flow is all over the place.
yeah, your flow is because you're undisciplined, which again, if you want that, that's fine, but understand where that's going to bring you and where it's not going to bring you.
Right. Now, I think my last connection here is going to be, speaking of this flow and undisciplined, like, mad respect for the band, Kings of Leon. But that one song, God, what is it? What are like a couple of their big songs? You got Sex on Fire.
The other day, all I did was listen to Kings of Leon for 12 hours straight. So tell me more.
Help me find this song. It's some of their big tunes. Sex on Fire. List some more. What are other big songs by them?
I'm failing.
Help me out.
I'm trying. I can't think of any of them.
All right. I'm gonna look up Kings of Leon.
Yeah, I'm looking too. The funny thing is they're pulled up right here. But you're gonna talk. Bucket.
Not Bucket.
The funny thing is they're literally pulled up because I was listening to them before we started this podcast.
That's kind of funny. Use Somebody.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
I don't love that one. I played in a cover band, but continue.
The drums on that song, like there's a couple drum fills in it's very possible that I'm misremembering. I should probably listen to it again just to make sure, but like that shit is just not in time.
Okay, great story. So the drums of Kings of Leon. The Kings of Leon drummer, I think is married to no, I'm gonna have this wrong. He's married to a famous singer. So the drummer came in and he's gonna play drums on one of her songs.
Yeah.
He doesn't play in time. He goes,
Really?
we never record with a click. Now, Nick, I saw them live, and this was years ago. I saw them live. I was beyond blown away how tight as a band they were.
Right. They grooved together. They didn't groove to a click track.
Yes. Yeah. But no.
That playing with a click is a skill in of itself, and it's not necessarily the best thing. Like there's a lot that gets lost in doing everything to a click track. You know.
Yeah, for sure.
There's so much feel in the song developing its own tempo based on what's happening and what emotions being expressed, and you know we know hell we kind of artificially played around with that on that song. I know that we did as Lamech, where we adjusted the tempo for the different sections, and it was actually quite a challenge because we adjusted it very small amounts, but having to like instantaneously reset to a different tempo. Yeah, that was a trip.
I think it goes back to how you practice, though. You practice a shit ton with a metronome so you don't have to play with a metronome. You practice a shit ton of the mechanics so you can have... It's that back and forth. All you're doing... It's the same thing how you talked about us practicing and us doing that thing. We're sharpening the sword.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you sharpen that sword by getting that feedback. Nick goes, hey, Luke, you don't do this well. Okay, well, I have to fix that.
Right.
And I think that goes, again, to, like... If I don't have good practice on my own, if I'm not willing to listen to the feedback, it's pointless, right? If you told me 7 things to do and I was like, well, fuck Nick. I don't care what he says.
What does he know? Yeah.
Yeah. But again, I always feel like, you know, our actions are our words. So I trusted you as a musician because I go, God damn, he's fucking good.
Right.
So if he's good, what'd he do to get there?
Right.
Drank a lot of whiskey and said no to things.
Almost everything.
So,
Yeah.
it's a good model. Cool.
All right.
Any other thoughts on
Very good.
this?
No, I think that's about all I got for you.
Sounds like a plan. All right. Well, you have a good week.
You too.